Panther fans, get ready for a deep dive with all 22 because
the film don't lie.
Good thing it's cold in here because y'all waking up.
It is frigid in here, but I love it.
It feels like fall.
That's right.
You know,
the weather is supposed to become fall-like, and you know what they say about fall? That's when fat people come alive.
That's right.
Shut up.
No, I'm still in the portly class, man. I'm too fitty.
Oh, okay.
too bitter.
No comment. Let's talk about where's Christian. Like that guy in that striped shirt, the Panthers have found many, many ways to use the young running back out of Stanford. Guys, in that game Sunday, 100 yards receiving for running back. I mean, not a record, but no hobby either. What did you guys see, and what did you like about the way you used McCaffrey in that game?
I'll start this. Listen up. I think this guy is just going to become more and more effective in the passing game because of all the different ways they used him. First, I love the way they set up a traditional screen. I mean, they motioned Curtis Samuel across. They got all those eyes looking one way, and then they ran kind of a delayed screen to the left side, and Andrew Norwell, the beast, he just blocks down, gets everybody kind of thinking it's a run. Those backers suck up a little bit, and then suddenly he bursts out, gets out in the screen, gets a really good block. It's a nice, easy completion for Cam Newton, and it's a big gain. And it's just a simple play, but it's really like a long handoff, gets him on open space, and he makes good yardage out of it.
They didn't stop there, did they, Ruck?
No, they didn't. And I think Mike Shula, he's got a lot of weapons and a lot of places that he can put McCaffrey. And in the play that I broke down and I looked at is that they started him in the slot and they did a jet sweep back the other way. And what they're basically doing is allowing the defense to see how the defense is going to line up. And then all of a sudden they're going to move him around, which makes it very, very tough on the defense because I think when he is in space and he has room and he can see the field, that's where he's the most dangerous. Yes, you could put him in the backfield and run in between the tackles. Yes, you can throw a pass or a screen. But when you put him at the slot and then put him in this jet sweep the opposite way, he's got room to work, and he can use his speed and he can use his angles, and that's what I think is his best attribute.
Yeah, and I like the way they flipped the field. One of the ways they did it, he starts out in the backfield, and then he goes out into a 2-by-2 formation or either empty. And in one case, he goes out wide. So he's outside the receiver, and now they set up for a tunnel screen. And I like the way they ran that. One thing I always used to teach young running backs is it's inside the first block, outside everybody else, because you say, what's inside? The world. And you don't want to run in there because it's thick.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's when you think defensive linemen are
Right. That's what we're looking for.
Looking for some rib sandwich, So, hey, he made the cut and he got a good game. But in all of this, guys, would you agree that what they're doing is moving the defense's eyes to where they shouldn't be? And could they exploit that down the road?
I think so, and I think as a defense, you always want to try to scheme. You don't want to show your hand right away. But sometimes these formations and where they're putting McCaffrey because of how dangerous he is, it almost tips your hand as a defense in what you want to do. Because if they do a quick snap and you're out of position, his speed is going to burn you. And so you can't disguise as a defense like you want to the last second.
Yeah, and I think to kind of piggyback on that, on the defensive side, the biggest strain you can put on them is they got to defend the whole field. And what we're seeing with getting McCaffrey out wide, either he's motioning out there, lines up at the slot, the tunnel screen that you mentioned, it makes that defense defend the whole width of the field. And you're putting an athlete out there in a lot of space. I think it takes, great advantage of the skill set he's brought, and it's still a work in progress. But, man, they've certainly been able to do that, and it looked pretty good against, Breeze and the Saints last week. For the most part, they still have some things to work out, but, man, they had some positive drives, certainly, and it was a lot of reason was due to Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, and I mean, we're not glossing over it because the game didn't end like anybody wanted. The Panthers lost, and they did not crack. They did not get the offense going like they wanted to. What needs to be done now? I'll start with you, Kevin.
I think offensively, it's still to keep hammering away and stick to that running game. They have done a really good job with that. The average per carry has been really good the last two games, even though They didn't win the games this last game, obviously, but I think Jonathan Stewart and Christian McCaffrey in the running game are excellent. And I think a big thing is, I thought it was awesome they ran Cam near the goal line. I know he's continuing to heal. I know that they want to be protective of that shoulder, but I think there's some ways that you can use him in some smart situations that makes, like I said, the defense guard the whole field. Right now, when he's not running as much, are they really staying close to the line of scrimmage and seeing that as a threat, or are they dropping back a little bit more because they know, hey, let's make them beat us in the passing game? And right near the goal line, he ran that read option, and it was a brilliant play because you fake the handoff to McCaffrey, who's going one way. The defense is seeing that. Then you see Jay Stu going wide, and they ran that flip play a couple of times where they flipped it to him, so a defender's got to go wide with him, and it really opened up the middle for Cam just to keep it himself and go right into the end zone. Barely touched, touchdown Panthers. It was a well-executed play. He ran the ball, and it gives them something else on defense they really have to worry about.
Now, Ruck, flipping to the other side of the ball, really after the first two games, I mean, we were ready to pack this group up and ship them up to Canton. And it just did not look like that against Drew Brees. What has to happen this week? Because there's no picnic, and we'll talk about that guy coming along.
Yeah, right off the bat, I could see the game plan of the Saints as soon as the game kind of opened up. And essentially the Saints knew that we cannot just go head-to-head with you guys. We cannot go blow-to-blow, fist-to-fist with you. We cannot just stack and try to run inside the tackles. We can't just drop back, 7-step drop, and just throw the ball. We have to have misdirection. So when you open up the film and you look, you'll see a lot of screens. You'll see a lot of reverses. You'll see a lot of misdirection-type plays or quick throws. And that is all to try to keep you off balance and to take your strength away. And the Saints did a good job, just enough to keep the Panther defense on its heels a little bit. There were some big plays that the Saints had. I think for the defense going up to like New England, what you have to really do is you have to really go back to basics. You have to really just go about penetrating and playing your keys. Your keys, especially as a defensive lineman and a linebacker, your front seven, your keys will take you to the play, right? And if you're an end, if you look cut back, boot, or reverse, that'll take care of some of all that funky stuff, that trickery. And you're going to get what hurt you this past week. Bet your bottom dollar that Bill Belichick and Tom Brady are going to test you again this week to see if you cleaned up your stuff and if you made some adjustments. They will test you, and you need to be able to knock it in the dirt early so that they say, hey, we can't do this. We got to go somewhere else.
Kevin, one of the things back just with that Saints game, because here again, that film goes right up to Bill Belichick's office. And he's got a guy in there who sifts through that, and it may not be that film. He may go back 2 years. Their director of football research may go back 2 years and find something that they use that hurt you and bring that back around, and it's in the game plan. We saw it when they were in the Super Bowl, but it was the simple things. The runners off right tackle, the way the Saints attack the Panthers this week. You got to stop that first, correct?
Yeah, and I think, to kind of go along with Mike's point with the way with Breeze came out this past week and that offense, they were very aggressive and very fast-paced, and I think that kept the defense a little bit kind of hesitant at times. And that's what the Patriots are going to do. That's what they've been really good at. Tom Brady is such a fast thinker. He knows that offense. He's been with the coordinator a while. They just kind of know what each other's thinking. So that pressure is going to be big time, I think, by that offense, trying to keep the Panthers on their heels a little bit. And really, Mike hit it right on the head. It's go back to what your keys are and just dominating your one position. Stop looking around for where the ball's going to be going or where it may go. Just do your job. I know that sounds very simple, but it really can be very effective in sometimes in a team sport like this, and everyone's got to be working together. Just do your job, read your keys, and just know the guy next to you is going to be doing the same thing. And that's going to go a long way, I think, in preparation for this week. But, man, Belichick and Brady, they're going to have some stuff planned for this defense that they're going to have to be ready for.
One piece of film that we broke down was the last two plays of Tom Brady's 40th comeback win. And, guys, when you look at it, you say 40 comeback wins, that also means that there were 40 teams, and a lot of them repeat offenders, who had the lead.
That is true.
And they knew the Patriots were going to come back. The Patriots knew they were going to come back, and they did it anyway. What'd you see on those last two plays, Mike?
Well, I kind of want, like, you hit a really good point about there's something in the DNA in a quarterback, and a defense will know it. You know, there's a few out there like a Brett Favre, a Peyton Manning, and then obviously Tom Brady, where you know that there's no lead that is big enough for you to feel safe, right?
Atlanta.
And so, yeah, and
Ask Atlanta.
Yes, as the Super Bowl is a prime example of no lead is too safe, and I think that last year's Super Bowl has brought everybody back to earth, knowing that, hey, whether it's 3 points or we're up 20-something points, it does not matter. And I think it's because he's done it. He knows the plays, but he expects to make that touchdown. He expects to, and people around him buy into that. If you have hope, you have a shot. If you know that you're quarterback and you're like, dang, man, we're done. That's not a good feeling as a ball club. But if you have a guy trotting out on that field and you can rally around him, that makes everybody jazzed and ready to rock and roll. And Tom Brady is one of those guys. You saw it like we just talked about in the Super Bowl. And so as a defense, you have to be aggressive. You have to keep that pressure on Tom Brady. And hopefully that there's a mistake that is made. And what coaches always said, you know, the best defense is a good offense. So if you can keep your offense and keep him on the bench, then you don't have to worry necessarily. That brings that percentage back into your favor if you can keep him on the bench.
And I think that's the game plan. Run the rock and get some time off the clock so he's not on the field. Because what I see when he's on the field, like those last two plays to win the game, that dude, he is cool, calm, and collected. There's no pressure. He looks like, hey, I got this. Everybody just do your job. Hits a nice throw downfield to get them in a position to be able to take a shot in the end zone. He's back there calm, got good protection, throws a nice pass, gets them down the field. Then that second one, I mean, the winning touchdown, it's unbelievable because the Texans get great pressure. They sacked Brady 5 times. So they get great pressure. On this last play of the game, they run a TE stunt, and Clowney's running around, and he is up in Brady's grill. He's knocking him to the ground right as Brady's releasing that ball to a perfect spot, to the receiver right there who double toe taps, gets the touchdown. And you see it, and the Texans, you look at their body language, you're like, well, it was coming. You know, it's like it was there, you know.
Yep, there it is.
You got to finish on offense on the field with the victory formation. You can't give Brady the ball back and let him march down the field.
But it's got to be more than confidence. Something technically goes wrong because when I looked at that last play that you talked about, fractions of an inch on the pressure, but also, Ruck, you had a corner with a safety help inside, turns the receiver loose to the outside, and I mean, and it's covering grass.
Yeah, it's two kind of pressure, the one you feel and the one you apply. And I think when Brady trots out on the field, he's already applying the pressure. And I think defenses feel the pressure, and I think that's a prime example of where you talk about a corner in the safety and you turn them loose, that they started feeling the pressure, and it slowly unraveled.
Well, the Panthers will have to apply pressure and handle pressure when they go up to Foxborough this week. And, guys, I tell you what, we are out of time. On behalf of Mike Rucker and Kevin Donnalley, remember, if it happens inside the lines, we will talk about it on All 22 because
the film don't lie.
We'll see you next time.